Welcome to Grimsby, a town where the locals are referred to as codheads. Now this is a once bustling fishing port on the northeast coast that has suffered from terrible post-industrial decline. We're going to walk around the town today. We're going to walk around all sorts of areas, the town centre, the outer areas and the port, and we're going to see what life is like for the locals in this incredibly impoverished part of the UK.
Grimsby is shocking.
And why is it shocking?
Because no one's bothering with it, and no one wants to improve it.
Has that been since the decline of the fishing industries in the
It has,
70s?
mate. Yeah, well, since the docks are gone, it's.
And they called it an ignorant backward shithole.
Okay.
It might be an ignorant backward shithole, but it's our ignorant backward shithole.
Yeah, so you're born and bred.
Yeah, I'm born and bred Grimsby, and I've moved away and come back.
What about like employment opportunities and things?
Employment's terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, Arthur's got criminal records as well.
Yeah.
So it's really hard for us to go for an interview, say 300 times, and then say no at the end of it.
I would say 60 to 70% of the shops are boarded up.
Yeah.
All the businesses, the buildings.
You've been down Freeman Street yet?
You go Freeman Street, right? When I was a kid, every single one of them shops was open.
I've never seen such a proliferation of closed shops
Oh, yeah.
anywhere I've been.
Yeah.
I was told that like East Marsh is a pretty deprived neighbourhood as well.
It was on the telly a while ago, some MP, and they reckon East Marsh is one of the top 10 most deprived places for investment in Britain.
I read it was the second most
I know it
deprived
was in
ward.
I know it was in the top 10.
We're classed as the Western world, aren't we? We're supposed to be up there, we look after everyone and all that lot. Well, I say bloody charity starts
begins
at
at
home first, yeah?
Yeah.
You help myself so I can help the refugees or other people coming in first, you know what I mean? This lad here is homeless, you know what I mean? All through the frigging government. They sanctioned him 200 quid the other day
Yeah,
because he missed
205 quid because I missed an appointment.
How long have you been on the streets?
A couple of months now, but it's like mad as fuck. You're on that universal credit, you get 320 quid a month. I went to the bank one day, they paid me £5.82 for the month.
Yeah.
But they didn't give me £5.82 in one payment, they give me two payments to £2.92.
Yeah.
Joking. Wow.
So I earned £6 for the month, but I could only get fucking £3 of it.
And I wonder why people go
£2.92
to
and then a
prison.
fortnight, £2.92 later, but I had to borrow 8p out of my mate's fucking copper jar to go to the post office to get the £3 coins. That's what I got sitting there. It was just before Christmas. That was my payment before Christmas.
Well, the reason why we've gone through crime, done crime and stuff like that, because
They
we
put-
haven't got money and stuff like that, it's circumstantial.
Like
And then they put
anywhere
more-
you go in the world, like the main reason people commit petty crimes is because they're pushed into a situation where they have to do it.
Opportunity.
Like you're not going to become a millionaire by doing little petty things.
This is how fickle it is on our side of life.
yeah,
It's disgusting. We've got brains on us, you know,
I can
just
tell.
give us a chance.
I immediately, when I sit down with people, like
Yeah.
I hate that people are judged by their situation. Like the moment you sit down with someone, like it's just a roll of the dice, really.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
No
It's
one can
like-
choose where they're born.
No.
No one can choose where their family
Exactly,
ties are.
Yeah.
It's like I've been to prison, but I did something wrong in my life. But it
Took the
doesn't mean
one
to
out.
say I'm bad for the rest of my life.
No.
You know what I mean? It was
paid your
circumstantial.
penance.
And if we can't reform our societies, then there's no hope, is there? You know what I mean? It's like people can reform, people can get better. Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to reform myself now. You know, it's bloody slow going,
need-
right? But you know, I'm on GPS bloody tagged by being in
jeez.
prison. Do you know what I mean? This is GPS.
How long you got that on for?
Possibly a year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not a tag system where you come out of prison and you get a few months off your sentence.
Yeah.
But I was in for burglary, but it was a stupid burglary. I come out of prison last time from scraps from the street, got done for an affray. And then I went to prison for 8 months, come out, and they left me homeless.
Yeah.
I was roaming the streets for about 11 days.
They're dregs of society. We're the fuckers that's on the front line protecting all these fucking do-gooders
we're
with
the
the spawn with the
pawns of
silver.
life.
Yeah, we're the pawn. We're the fodder. You know what I mean? And just because you might be homeless or someone's got an addiction or anything doesn't make the person a wrong un.
No.
Just because he's got an addiction.
What's Grimsby like in 2023?
Shithole.
Why do you say that?
Honestly, there's no clue.
No opportunity,
No
no jobs.
No, I mean, even the food bank where we're going to now, when we're homeless, there's they give you half eaten bags of crisp and, you know what I mean, so...
Apart from 6 months from last year that I spent in jail, I've been homeless for 2 years, last 2 years.
You may wonder, how did Grimsby end up this way? From its height of success, when it once was home to the largest fishing fleet in the world in the 1950s, to the present day. Well, we have to look squarely at the Cod Wars, incredibly vitriolic industrial disputes between the UK and Iceland, and they were between the 50s and 70s. I think they ended the last one in 1978, and the UK had to recede fishing waters. Consequently, fishing companies pulled out of Grimsby, which was the main employer in the town. That led to the social decline that we can now see all around us in this town today. And that decline was dramatic. A highly skilled workforce in a one industry town, reliant upon that industry to feed its society. But that industry had set sail. So much is said about post-industrial decline in the US in cities like Detroit, but you've got huge buildings in the former, once the biggest fishing fleet in the world here in Grimsby, just decaying, crumbling in front of our very eyes. What a sad sight. You can see why there's so much deprivation in this town. So how much of the fishing industry's left here now? Not a lot. How many companies are still operating fishing from the port here?
No fishing boat comes on here, in here.
Yeah. So Young's are one of the companies that still process fish here.
They're closing one of the factories. So
And has this all been on decline since the mid-70s, since the Cod Wars?
it has.
So what's your name, mate?
Anthony Nelson.
Anthony, yeah. And are you on the streets?
Yeah.
Are you living on the streets?
Yeah.
And what?
I got out. Well, it is. I went to jail on my man for something I didn't do for 2 months, and then got to court and there's no case to be held, and they just released me into nothingness.
Yeah.
No release grant. Didn't even give me my clothes. The money I had in me, and the thing is, it's all still there. I can't get down there to get it. So.
Yeah.
And you just get out into this, into no support.
Yeah. And how long have you been on the streets like this now?
It's been on and off for years.
Yeah.
But this time it's been about 4 months now.
This is no joke, folks. Look at the state of some of these buildings. Look at the state of the old pub, the Albion. I've never seen such decline. Everywhere I've been, this is shocking. Grimsby has shocked me. Is this what you think of when you think of Britain, a developed Western nation? The post-industrial decline is shocking. Welcome to East Marsh, which is one of the most deprived wards in the entire country, in the entire UK, and definitely, from the people I've spoken to, one of the roughest parts of Grimsby, which is already incredibly impoverished. So I'm just having a little wander around the streets here to see what life is like in the poorest part of this already incredibly poor seaside town. Is this what you think of when you think of the UK, folks, especially if you're from overseas? These ramshackle streets where most people are living on benefits, struggling to get by, one step, maybe 1 week away, or even less from homelessness. I'm sure that not everybody in East Marsh is struggling. I'm sure that the sense of community is really good because I've met some really open, warm people since I've been in Grimsby. But you can definitely tell that this is an impoverished area. So what's East Marsh like?
Well,
I've read that it's the second most destitute, poverty-stricken ward in the UK.
yeah.
What's life like? You deliver on the streets here. What's life like in East Marsh?
I mean, it's, like you say, quite a rough area. But the people are so down to earth on here.
Yeah,
as well.
I will
They
say
are,
that
yeah.
everyone that I've bumped into in
Yeah.
Grimsby, incredibly open, incredibly warm.
Yeah.
And it's so sad to me that, like, they're kind of used to
living like this.
the destitution.
Yeah.
Like I've never seen in the UK, and I do this in all sorts of different seaside towns.
Yeah.
I've never seen so many boarded up shops.
Yeah.
But I've spoken to the locals about it, and they're almost used to it.
Yeah, it is just the norm around here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you see, graffiti everywhere, but everyone just gets on with it, and it's normal. So.
And is it dangerous in this area, or
No.
is it just poor?
I mean, obviously you get your odd incident, what's knives and everything else, but really it's the same as everywhere else. Even you get it in Cleethorpes 10 minutes down the road, and that's meant to be nicer, but it's just the same everywhere. It's boarded up everywhere, but it's just normal.
As you can see, folks, like everyone I've bumped into has been incredibly open and friendly. It is such a shame. It's just so, it's almost criminal that these really warm northern, big-hearted towns are suffering this fate, and the people are used to it. They're used to everything being broken. Massive estates full of empty, boarded up shops. Do you know what's the saddest thing about it to me is I go to a lot of towns around the country, seaside towns, and the ones that are struggling, they're not very welcoming. The people here are the most open, warm people I've met in any of these towns.
No, you can get some really bad ones.
So I've been lucky, I've bumped into all the good people.
Yeah, there's a lot of drugs around as well.
Well, that's everywhere now.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
But the old buildings, they just don't seem to want to look after them.
Yeah.
Like on the docks. They could do so much. I mean, if you look at Hull docks, they've changed everything. And it's a buzzing place now, but here, there's nothing.
It's such a shame.
It is
Yeah.
a shame.
So this is Cleethorpes, which is next door to Grimsby, but kind of all has grown into the same place now. And Cleethorpes is seen as the poshest part of the area. The people in Grimsby tell me that Cleethorpes is the posher part of Grimsby, but
It's not.
no.
It's both the same area. You just get more people in summertime, but in the meantime it's just like Grimsby.
So what's life like in Cleethorpes in 2023?
Tough. From normal people, I was like, shit.
People have told me that Cleethorpes is the posher part of the area.
Yeah. Yeah.
Less boarded up shops, there's still quite a lot. But is Cleethorpes a slightly better place to live than Grimsby, do you think?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is. It is better.
Yeah.
People more friendly, I'd say,
Yeah.
like this way.
So what's your name, my friend?
Anthony.
Anthony. And are you on the streets here in Cleethorpes?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and how long have you been on the streets?
About 2 years now.
2 years?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. And what's life like on the streets in Cleethorpes?
Do you know, it's not too bad in Cleethorpes, but it's not great, mate. We're only in a tent, so we're only getting a B&B about every 3-4 days, so...
Yeah, to have a wash and get a good night's sleep.
Yeah, it's the only time we can feel normal, do you know what I mean? It's a lot safer than Grimsby.
It's a lot quieter.
It is, mate. Do you know, I don't really go to Grimsby much because, because of that reason, mate.
Yeah, I can understand why, if somebody thinks about it properly, if they are on the streets, they would come over this side because it's definitely a lot quieter environment.
Yeah, it is, mate.
Yeah. So I bumped into this lady in the local pub in Cleethorpes. Everybody I spoke to in Grimsby yesterday said that Cleethorpes is the posher part of the area, like a bit more going for it, less boarded up shops. Certainly less boarded up shops than Grimsby, but that's not hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the general vibe in the area?
I don't know. I've lived in both areas. I think they're both pretty much the same. I think it's probably getting a bit worse up here than it used to be.
Really? Yeah.
If I'm honest.
In what way?
Just a lot more crime going on, a lot more crap. It is still a nice place to live, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think the people make the place more than anything.
Without doubt, especially in a place like this. If you'd have come in an hour or so, it'd have been filled with locals, wouldn't it?
It's pretty early.
Everyone knows everyone. You can come in here
Yeah, cheap pub, but a good pub, I can tell.
You can come in on your own and you end up with friends.
What's the pub called? Teddy's Bar. There you go. Teddy's Bar in the heart of Cleethorpes.
And we have karaoke on a Wednesday. I mean, on a Saturday, Sunday, and a Friday.
Another example, folks, of how warm and welcoming the locals of Grimsby and Cleethorpes are. How much is it a pint?
£2.50.
£2.50 a pint.
Till 12 o'clock.
In Teddy's Bar.
Till 12 o'clock.
Till 12. In conclusion, I've never seen a seaside town with as many boarded up shops and in such a sad state of decline as Grimsby. I've travelled to many seaside towns in this country and I've never seen it this bad. But in contrast, I've never met such warm, open and friendly people as the people of Grimsby. That's why it's so sad, because these people are just so warm, open and welcoming, and yet they're living in a town which is suffering with so much decline. People in their 40s and below, they also seem to be institutionalised by the state of things here. Since the fishing industry collapsed in the 70s, they don't really know any difference. There's not been much prosperity in the town since, so they're not even shocked by how things are anymore. To see high streets with 70-80% boarded up shops and shuttered up shops, that's a normal thing to them. So folks, Grimsby, definitely the most in decline seaside town that I've visited yet. A town full of warm, welcoming, friendly locals, which is in a chronic state of decline.